Hello and welcome to Trenta, 30-something conversations with 30-somethings for 30-somethings and the 30-something else. Joining me today are my law school loves, whom I've known for 10 years now, and they're here to share what it's like to be a young lady lawyer. For this episode, I'd like to call On the Basis of Age and Sex, a look at the highs and lows of millennial lady lawyering. So without further ado, here are my girls, Lauren, Mary, and Nayie. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're up so
Morning.
early on a Father's Day Sunday.
Yeah, happy Father's Day.
Yeah. So before we start, I usually ask my guests to give their ASL. It's old school ASL. Introduce yourself, if you don't mind, with your ASL. So anyone who wants to start?
Yeah. Me.
You can start, Mary.
Hi. Yep. I'm Mary. Age 30. ASL. So, was a female lady. Currently in Vietnam, practicing in Myanmar.
Right.
Okay, so me, hello. I am Nayie. I'm 31 years old. I'm female and I'm currently in Manila or Metro Manila in Makati.
Yay.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm also 31, female, obviously, because the podcast is for millennial females. And I'm in Cebu.
Thank you. So I'll start with okay, we're 6 years out of law school, 5 years into practice. My first question would be, did you ever imagine you'd be where you are today?
Oh no.
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 Okay, anyone who wants to
Okay. I can. I think I never thought I'd be working in Myanmar. Or outside the Philippines actually.
Mhm.
Because of the plans that we made in law school.
What
Mhm.
was your vision of your career like 5 years
Actually, I
ago?
never, yeah, it was, I really never thought that we can practice outside.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Going outside was just taking a master's degree. And after that, just go home, serve the
Mhm.
country.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think the job offer you got in Singapore was came as a surprise, not just to you but to all
Yeah.
of us, diba? We were
Yeah.
surprised that you even considered moving abroad
Yeah.
for work.
Yeah. Because I was already at the BSP,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and it was a stable government job
Mhm.
and hard to get. And, it
Mhm.
was like a long term thing, like ready to retire there.
Mhm.
But surprise before you can.
What about you, Nyers?
um, for me, I didn't think that I would stay long in the work that I'm doing now. Like I always knew from graduating that I'd be working for the development sector, like really with NGOs or international governmental organizations like the one I'm working for now. I just didn't expect like the project that I'm currently working on or worked on for the past 3 years. And it's just because like just to give background, like even during law school, like my interest was really in human rights, like and in particular like women's rights and gender equality.
Mhm.
So I thought that I would be doing work along those lines. But actually I did start doing work along those lines like in the first year of being a lawyer. But after that I transitioned to working for another organization, but this time for anti-corruption projects and capacity development. So it was something that like it was very different for me. Like I thought that I would always be working for gender, but
Mhm.
and then it's just actually this year that I moved to another project that's working on gender, and like now I'm also teaching gender. So it was actually quite a long way for me to sort of go back to what I initially thought I would be doing once I started working.
Uh-huh.
So it's good. So I grabbed the chance when my supervisor told me, "Do you want to move to a project?" I'm like, "Yes." I've been waiting for this.
Uh, well, shout out to all her students. Joke lang. What
Who are
about
now in quarantine and I don't see anymore.
Oh yeah.
what about you, Lauren?
Well, for me, I also didn't think I'd be where I am now, like 5 years ago, because I guess at that time I really thought my trajectory was to work in a big quote unquote firm
Mhm.
and really sort of build expertise there. And just a background, I started my practice in a big firm
Mhm.
in Makati. And then I moved back to Cebu a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
But that move was actually a lot earlier than planned. My intention was like initially to start in a firm, work as an associate, and then build expertise for at least 5 years, and then find like sort of a specialization before moving on to something else, whether it's moving back home or transitioning to another field. But something happened along the way that accelerated that process. So I'm here now. Definitely not what I envisioned, but I think uh, in a way you are meant to be where you are at a given moment.
Yeah.
So
So true. I think Lauren and I have more similar stories, no? Like
mhm.
we started out at a big firm in Makati and then suddenly we went back home and then now we're trying to figure out what it's like to be, really fending for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about, so I came across this article on LinkedIn on senior lady lawyers sharing their experience in practice across Asia. And
Yeah.
I think it didn't quite paint an accurate picture for me because, well, maybe because the resource persons there were already in a stage of their careers where, they're already kind of settled.
Mhm.
So the Philippine counterpart there, or the Philippine interviewee, said that she thought that, well, it's true. Generally, professional women in the Philippines are upwardly mobile. Is that the
Mm.
correct term? Something like that. Or she also mentioned that she thought that there was no glass ceiling to be shattered. But I don't entirely agree because, diba? Because I think in terms of, let's say, gender equality or gender equal laws, there are laws in place in the Philippines, but what's more challenging is the unspoken or the unwritten rules or the expectations that society has of
Mhm.
lady lawyers, and not just lady lawyers, young lawyers. So I wanna start with your experience, maybe your not so good experience with people in our line of work who have maybe looked down on you because of your age. Let's start with age first before we go to sex. So, um, age bias.
Mhm.
Did you did you ever have any experience so far with that?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe
So like actually so like for my first work with the organization that I'm currently working in, like I started like quote unquote young. Like I was I
Mm,
think around 27
mm,
years old. And I was working, and our project was actually working with senior prosecutors, like really
mm,
lawyers who have like around 10 years older, 10 years of experience over me, like has really like worked long in government. And I think it's that combination of like experience and just like the period of time that they've done working for government that made it hard at first to establish rapport with
mm,
these older lawyers. of course, like my context is quite a bit different in a sense that I wasn't representing a firm. I was representing an organization, and we were proposing projects to them, like what can we do with them, what are the activities that we can organize or collaborate on. So, and I was actually the first hire for my organization, so I had no one above me. I didn't have a country manager in the Philippines. I just had my supervisor in Rome. And so that was it was a bit hard at first. Like I really had to establish like a lot of credibility, and really sort of like identify what are my strengths as a lawyer, and as in my case program manager. And and it's really, and it's sort of like, so first, like I really identified like what I can do, and capitalized on those or highlighted those traits. Like for example, like I'm a young lawyer, I may not know as much as trial advocacy as you, obviously, because you have so much experience, but I'm not here to tell you how to do trial advocacy. I'm here to tell you how to organize this project, or what's the best way to frame it so that international donors will want to fund this project. Like, so it was at first, like it was really it was quite a bit of a struggle. Like I had to, like I hated it, but I had to like sort of change my appearance. Like sometimes you even change your voice. Like you
Yeah.
can't, like the way you speak, like you can't, like bakla, like you can't do that. Like you can't be like that when you speak with them. And like I like just changing tweaking your physical appearance. Like I was wearing, I didn't like wearing heels that much when after I graduated law school, but I started wearing more and more because like I sort of, because I'm quite short, but I wanted to be like physically at eye level with the people that I'm speaking with, or that I'm sometimes looking down on them, just to have that, just to add on to the credibility that I felt was missing just because I was young.
Yeah.
So it was a struggle at first, but I think like after a year was long too. Like hopefully after a year, and now that I've sort of grown into my role and really gained more relationships with the partners that we're working with, like it's a lot better. But the start was a bit rough.
What about you, Lauren?
Um, in terms of like, I think I feel the age bias more, um, in terms of like external transactions or encounters. So it's not so much within my place of work, where the older lawyers, the more senior lawyers, sort of see you as someone they can mentor, something like that. But then outside of the office, usually if you're in court, for example, and you go against a lawyer who's way more senior than you, that's where you feel it. Like I guess they feel like you don't know anything. They can, um, be more persuasive than you. And then you know how that iha issue with Frankie Pangilinan is, where Tulfo called her iha, and she said calling her iha doesn't belittle her point or her advocacy, whatever it is. So it's similar to that outside of court, they can say iha ano, ayusin na lang natin to, or something like that, as if to say that, to simplify whatever it is that you're trying to argue against or argue for. So it's more there that you feel like you're being belittled as a lawyer, as an advocate. And aside from that, ever since moving to Cebu, I think it comes from clients as well, because I guess their vision of a credible and capable lawyer is someone who's been in practice for uh, 10-20 years. So when they see you, like, oh, you're so young, that's usually the comment.
Yeah.
Are you just in your 20s or something like that? And then they think, because you're younger, you're not as skilled, you're not as professional, therefore you shouldn't be paid so much. So I think that's what I'm dealing with currently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clients
So
also know. I just wanted to share. There was even one time a client told me, "You're too young to understand." So parang, okay, go lang.
Wow.
Like they all when they see you, they're like, "Wow, you're so young. How old
Yeah,
were you?"
yeah.
Or when did you graduate? I
Yeah,
think that's it. Like
exactly.
when did you
They size you up the moment you first meet. Parang, how
yeah.
many years have you been in practice? So
Mm-hmm.
they kind of have this idea of you already in their minds.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
And
about
then they're
you, Matt?
gonna be
What?
like self-mocking, like mock themselves like, oh, like I'm so old, la la la. But you
Uh,
know that it's like a sometimes you feel it's a power move. I don't know if I'm
Yeah, I
overanalyzing, but
guess
sometimes they're like,
no. I experienced that in the Philippines. So like at the BSP, whenever I'd attend meetings or like government meetings outside with like banks or something, I'd really feel young. I'd have to dress up like Nayie, like wear heels because I'm very short. But then as soon as I moved to Singapore, I never experienced that. I never felt like I was too young. If any, I felt like I was old na, and I felt insecure about I'm 29 and why didn't I experience this yet? But I think the difference is that our law school is a master's degree. So we studied 8 years. But if you compare to the Singaporeans,
yeah,
they finish at, wait, how old? They're an associate at 24.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
That's
29, only 4 years of experience. And I was really struggling with that. Like I was given a role. No, I mean, I was assisting in some projects, which was fine. But then when I would do the lead, the hesitancy would come from me. And then now that I'm in Myanmar, I'm managing some local Burmese lawyers who are way older, like 45 to 50 years old. And
Wow.
the hesitancy comes from me because of the like I think the built-in
Wow.
respect of our elders.
Yeah,
mm,
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. I was talking to my manager who's Filipina. I said, "Can I say it this way? Can I do this?" You know, they might be sensitive about how we treat them. The Burmese also, they're very like, they have a different kind of respect for the elders. Like you can't eat ahead, stuff like that.
mm,
So it's something I had to adjust on the way I talk to them. I just remove all emotions in my emails.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
Just remove and then pretend that we're of the same age. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you'd be shocked that okay, wait, why is it this way? Why is this contract drafted this
mm,
way?
mm.
But then just remove the age and pretend like you're equal, and then
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be fine. But then of course when you see each other at the lobby, she's very old and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just the unique experience I'm having now
I
with that.
remember.
But mm,
Go ahead, Mary. Sorry.
no, yeah.
I remember you also shared an article on imposter syndrome in our group chat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to
It's
share something
it's
about that?
yeah, it's more of when l- you're afraid that the glass would shatter. Like you imbibe this image that you
Mm-hmm.
know what you're doing. That okay, yeah, I got this. Yeah. And then you're just afraid that someone would actually see that, no, she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah.
It's really it's I think I was struggling with that when I moved out because I was dealing with different laws.
Mm.
Not civil law. Common law is quite advanced. I'm sorry. Oh no. It's different, not advanced. It's different. So I was pretending to know that. No, I was studying it, but
Yeah.
then I had to have this confidence that I didn't actually, I had to pretend. I
Mm-hmm.
had to pretend that yeah, I got this.
How did
It's
you come
better
to
now
terms
though.
with that?
Not yet.
Or you're still in
So
the
I'm
it's
process?
struggling.
it's a
I'm still in the
process.
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 No, I'm studying for the QLTS. Now I stopped studying. I was studying. I was supposed to take the exam this July. but then
Mhm.
how to take it to the Philippines, right? Now I'm taking it January now.
Oh.
So yeah, I think active measures to get over that confidence issue.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's important, I think, to be at least I'm aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always the first step.
Hmm.
Okay, moving on to sex. I remember law school, first day pa lang, there was this professor who told us na, okay, when you become a lawyer, a man's value will increase like 3 times or
Uh,
5 times more than his value when he entered law school. Pero when you're a woman, parang death sentence na parang mawawalan ng appeal yung
mhm.
babae if naging lawyer. So see, even in law school, that's supposedly progressive with all the gender sensitive, gender neutral language that they teach us, there's still those little, remnants of societal, patriarchal society uh, issues that prevail. So, uh, what do you think of this? Like, have you had any experience being discriminated against because of your gender? Or did you feel pambabastos in our line of work at any
Mhm.
point so far?
I remember
Yeah.
that class actually. I think it was the first day of class, and then
Right, Lauren?
it went something like, oh, yung mga babae dito, kung wala pa kayong boyfriend,
Boyfriend. Get a
maghanap na kayo
boyfriend.
ngayon. Kasi
Oh,
pag naging lawyer na kayo, wala na kayong makahanap.
Yeah.
Parang ganun. And then yung mga lalaki naman na wala pang girlfriend since birth, huwag kayong mag-alala kasi
Yeah.
naging lawyer na kayo,
Yeah.
gwapo kayo, something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
He even gave
Oh
an
my
example
god.
of his friend, his lady
oh yeah,
lawyer friend with a very expensive condo. Remember?
yeah,
think
Who-
yeah.
that
who-
it was so
Yeah.
it was so memorable that all of us
Yeah.
can still recall what he said up to this
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. I
Like
have
Yeah.
PTSD just remembering that.
I bet
Uh,
thought he was trying to be funny, trying to break the ice.
Yeah.
But I guess a lot of people still think that way
Uh-huh.
because, well, in at work, um, another first impression encounter was that somebody, a more senior lawyer, male, told me that um, basically I was disadvantaged because of 3 reasons. I won't go into the other reasons, but one of the reasons was because I was female. Parang ganon. So, kumbaga, the context was I had a lot to catch up on in terms of like building my skills in that organization because one, so and so, two, ganyan, ganyan, and then three because I was female. So, parang the implied message was I'm automatically not as good as the other lawyers in the firm.
Mm.
And then a few months later, when I was able to work with that lawyer again, or when I was working on matters with that lawyer, um, Ina remarked that, oh, magaling ka naman pala, or magaling ka naman pala sumulat, marunong ka, parang ganon. So what does that mean? If I submitted my work like anonymously or if under someone else's name, would his reaction be different? Parang ganon. So subtle things like that are not really like categorically um well it's still not that subtle pala. But parang somehow it's still on the side of something they think it's acceptable to say to someone who's a woman, who's a young woman trying to
I'm actually lucky in terms of the organization that I'm working with now because we are 90% female in the Philippines. Like literally, we only have one male colleague,
Mhm.
and So it's very female driven. Our like even management in our headquarters, it's headed by a woman. Our regional manager is a woman. Like it's a very, I think like in the development sector, it's not unsurprising to find a lot of female dominated offices. So I think like on my side, like I'm very lucky to have to be working in that kind of environment, and also have a supervisor who is actually very sensitive about issues on gender equality and like women in the workplace. Like
Mhm.
um she's very aware of the struggles that women have in the workplace, and she actively encourages us, like the female staff, to really speak out and like fight these biases and fight these tendencies on our own, or like really like stand up to them. Like for example, like one thing that she mentioned, that we had a talk before, that like that we all can relate, but women are afraid to ask for a raise. Like they don't
Uh-huh.
want to talk about money. So
Yeah.
and she was the one, she really told me that I know that women have that issue. I've had that issue. You might have that issue, but don't be afraid to ask. Like you have to demand these things. So she was really like, so it was good to have that kind of environment, because it like, I mean, it's different when you feel yourself that there's some bias or something's holding you back, but it's really a lot more helpful if your supervisor or even like the colleagues that you work with
Yeah,
are actually aware of it.
that's true.
So yeah, and so organization wise, like I'm very lucky. I can't say the same. It's a long list. I can't say the same for working with our partners. I mean, I love working with our
Mhm.
partners. I think that they're very engaged. I think that they're the best partners that we could possibly have, especially um, like in this kind of climate, in this kind of, and of course like we're also working with government, so they're very busy, but at least like they find the time to help us or to work with us. But I think that a lot of the biases are really prevalent in that kind of situation, mostly because there isn't much of a check on our personal biases that we actually learn outside of the workplace.
Mhm.
Like these are things that we bring in the workplace. Um, and I've really encountered like a lot of like gender insensitivity, like trauma. Just kidding. But like I think one thing that was really like one thing like there are a lot of like comments that make you uncomfortable, but people feel are okay to say because it's quote unquote a compliment. Like for example, wow, ang ganda mo ngayon. It's parang like, I'm here for business. Yung like like I dressed up because I want to be professional, because I want you to take me seriously, not because I want you to tell me that I'm pretty today. Like that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And of course like if you get that from you know people who are older than you, people who you need to impress, like you need to
Mhm.
work with, you sort of can't say that,
Yeah.
like
Stop it.
yeah, like shut up. Like you can't say that. Right? So you sort of like, so your defenses are actually more of like maneuvering through
Mhm.
these gender landmines, so to speak.
Mhm.
Like you sort of train yourself to how do you react to these kinds of
Yeah.
responses. Like for example, oh, like you're so sexy, oh it's because you're vegetarian, and you're like, uh-huh, well it's nutritious, and then you walk away. Like the
Yeah.
burden, like it's unfair, I
Yeah.
think, for women, because the
Right.
burden is on us
Yeah.
to police ourselves or to defend ourselves, when in fact we should be able to tell them that no, this
Call
is not
people out.
appropriate,
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
people out. But the thing is like, and like me, like I consider myself, I'm a feminist, like I'm really working for women's equality, like I would march if we can march for women's rights. But but the thing is, like, I know that there's so much reputational risk for the work that I'm doing if I speak out. I mean, so like I think that one of the bravest things that I did was that one of the most senior leaders or heads of
Hmm.
the organization of an institution that I'm working with. Like he was saying a lot of like weird comments about like like transgender women using bathrooms, and he was saying, you know, the usual defense that like, oh, um like if I'm a rapist, like I could just pretend to be a woman, go to the bathroom and harass these women. And I couldn't take it anymore, and we were at a round table discussion with so many other like senior members of the institution, and I was with my country manager, so I really was like, sir, actually, like you know, like harassers are the ones who are least likely to pretend to be women just to harass women. If they want to harass women, a bathroom isn't going to stop them. They will go to that bathroom and harass the women.
Mhm.
So the senior officer was like, oh, okay, yeah, well, maybe I think we have to restructure how our bathrooms are made so that women are also comfortable, because like the complaints are coming from women who don't want to share bathrooms with
Mhm.
transgender women. So he said, so maybe we have to restructure them so that transgender women can use it, but like doors should not have the gap in between. So like it's really secure. So I was
Hmm.
like, okay, fine. That was like a good response. And then after I told my country manager, like, I'm sorry, I really had to say something because I felt like it was really wrong. Like I was glad that he agreed because I really thought I would lose my job. And again, like she was very supportive and said, yeah, it's a good thing that you mentioned that. Like he really needed to hear that because he was saying a lot of things that are actually sexist.
Hmm.
So there's that thing, like when you want to speak out, you're always just like there's something holding you back
Yeah.
because like just like, is the risk worth it?
Yeah.
And I think on this part, like for me, like I couldn't take it anymore. I felt like I had to say something as an advocate for LGBT rights, and
Mhm.
so it turned out well. But sometimes, like I mean, I think that it could have gone worse for other people.
Yeah.
Or because
Um.
if you're if, sorry, Mary, I'll just add,
Yeah.
or because you're going against someone who has something something over your head or who has authority
Mm.
over you. I've tried also, like in a police station. I was there to, help my friend who got detained. And then when I went inside the precinct, parang wala, as in like hindi pa naka-uniform yung mga officers. They were just in there, parang their undershirts, etc. And then parang wala lang. And then when they realized I was the lawyer pala, bigla silang they got their uniforms, etc., etc. And then pero you'd feel pa rin na there's this there's this uh medyo macho culture na parang, oh, why is his lawyer a girl, or parang ganun. So yeah, it's still very prevalent in society. What about you, Mary?
Just to like add, I think the macho culture is still very real in our profession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although now, like even when we were in law school, there were more female law students than male law students, right? And in terms of the workforce, there are more and more females entering,
Females.
like
Mm-mm.
let's say law firms. At least 60% are actually
Yeah.
females, but that way of thinking is still very real in the profession.
Mm,
Yeah. I
fine.
think so. One thing that I wanted to focus more on the external biases, not in the workplace, but the pressures, the pressure of family friends, aunties, when it
Mhm.
comes to like choosing a job as a young lawyer, lady lawyer.
Mhm.
But just to add with what Nai said earlier, like about how do we react when a client, let's say, because there I had this experience when a client tried to kiss me. Yeah, but then I
What?
yeah, but it was like a beso, but then he
Mm-hmm.
ended up kissing the my eyeglasses. And like when like some a client would like slip his number during a meeting.
Oh
Mm.
my
So
god.
how do they call me like that? How do you react to that, right? So of course you tell your superior, your partner, sir, ito nangyari, ganito. And then you'd hope that you'd be taken out of the project. I was, but it wasn't. It was. You can take it as like a harmless thing. Like, okay, he's foreign. He's okay, just being cute. But then actually, what Nai said, how do you react to that?
After the situation.
Yeah, how do you handle the situation since they're your client, right? And you don't see, I don't know, but anyway, so what I wanted to focus on was the bias of like someone telling you you're a young lady lawyer, you should find a job that will make it possible for you to start a family. Yeah, you're not supposed to work in a law firm where you won't have the time to raise a kid, stuff like that. I've heard that so many times. And then when I entered the BSP, oh, that's a good job, 8 to 5. Yeah, it's good for a family setup. And then when I said I'm moving to Singapore, what? What, you're leaving? How will you start a family with that by leaving the country? You know, the issues like that. Oh, you're not getting any younger. Yeah. So I think that's one thing that's adding pressure, but it's also a matter of not letting it get to you.
Yeah.
Because like I can do whatever I want. I can take a job that, yeah. I'm not going to let that stop me. And if that's about to happen, it will happen at the right time in my own terms, right? I think you can always make something like that work, but I think it's just in our society, like, oh, you're not yet married, like that. Not married, you don't have kids yet. How old are you? Trenta.
Trenta podcast.
Trenta podcast, right? Like, how do you?
These.
And you can.
Go ahead, Maya.
No, but how do you respond to that? No, you just laugh.
Yeah.
And it's funny
Like,
how
you can.
and then change the
come
subject.
from women themselves, but of a
Yeah.
older generation.
Yeah. So you try to come up with jokes like, you know, you're not even going to be invited. At least you have a boyfriend. You'll say that.
Something related to that. I was listening to this podcast. I have the challenges women face today versus those that were faced by our mothers' generation. And basically, the message was the generation of our mothers raised women to think that they can do anything, coming from their background that had more limited opportunities. So parang for us, they made sure to raise us in a way that you can do whatever you want, be a lawyer, you know, occupy spaces that are traditionally reserved for males.
Yeah.
But then now the additional burden in our generation is, since we're told that we can be anything, parang nagiging yung message transforms into you have to be everything. So be a lawyer, but you also have to be a mom. You also have to be married by this age. Yeah, parang ganon, lahat na. When in fact, your career is something. Kumbaga, nobody ever congratulates you as much as like you're getting married, you're getting engaged. Parang mas mabigat pa rin yung achievement na yun for women.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to respond to comments like that, similar to what Mari was saying. Usually I just try to change the topic rather than to like try to educate or enlighten the person saying it. Kasi parang mag-aaway lang kayo especially if it's family or like a friend.
Yeah. And like I really like what also struck me like back when we were just starting out. Like I was speaking also to another friend, and like my friend, like she's a lawyer and she really wants to start a family. Like that has always been what she wanted to do. And she was so worried because she said that, oh my gosh, like in our office, like the topic almost every day between the senior associates and the partners is where to find your fertility doctor because they're also worried on like if they're gonna get a child because the stress is building up, and
Yeah.
then they can't have children. So it's just one more thing that we have to deal with. Um how can you balance, like of course like we want to be good at our careers, of course we want to achieve as much as what we can achieve, but it's just frustrating that some women are some women are actually even telling you to slow down
Yeah.
because you're gonna kill your eggs, or you can't have babies.
True.
Yeah.
Like what are you supposed to do? Like it's just like it's a bit of a bind, because again there's that expectation that women to be fulfilled should have children, or
Like start freezing your eggs.
yeah, start freezing your eggs. So like there's really that, like it also comes from women,
Yeah.
and I don't think that like men have the same pressure.
Pressure.
Like it's they're not told to
Really
say
not.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, like hey, you're gonna have a child soon. Like,
Yeah.
so they don't need to
I'm so
like their
sorry.
partner.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, we're over time now, but I wanted to end with
Yeah.
asking you what your message to your younger self would be
Ooh.
Oh gosh.
in terms of like what it's like to be a millennial lady lawyer, knowing what you know now, or even just a message to those still in law school or thinking of entering law school, I guess.
I need like a few moments.
Sure,
I
no
think,
problem. Married?
yeah. So I think what I wish I was told when I was in law school was don't forget your ambition. Like, don't forget um, the things that you want to achieve for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
More of like, don't let go of yourself. Yeah, that's what, just a simple reminder that you are your own person and just don't let go, because some things happen and then you
Yeah.
realize, oh my gosh, who was I can do this. Look, I'm an international lawyer.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I can do that.
Uh,
Yeah, so you'd be surprised if you just cling on to, just remember like, I'm this. I'm actually a strong, independent, smart woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be
Yeah.
ashamed. Don't be
Yeah.
ashamed of that label, because sometimes I think when people call you strong, independent, parang you're intimidating, or like parang
Too much.
it's a negative. There's a negative connotation that comes with it. I mean, for me also, like knowing what I know now, I would embrace that label and like not be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
Nayie.
for me, like I would tell my younger self, like, like, because like before, like I always tell myself that, sheer will and determination, like just have sheer will and determination. But I also want to tell myself that other than that, you have to claim your space. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to stand up, like never let go of your beliefs and, the things that you deserve. Because I think that it's important for us women in particular
Mm.
to be uncompromising, mostly because we've been compromising bits and pieces of our lives just so we can fit into this standard model of what a female lawyer, for example,
Mm-hmm.
should be.
Mhm.
So, and sometimes we don't even know that we're compromising, but as much as possible, like stick to, like what Mary said, like stick to who you are and stick to your beliefs and claim that space, because you earned that space, you earned that spot on the table.
Aw. What about you, Lauren?
I guess mine would be that success, quote unquote, has an ever evolving definition, and that it's okay to revise your goals and your dreams,
Mhm.
because sometimes you get so fixated on your vision of what lawyering is like, you know, and you haven't even experienced one day of lawyering because that vision was made by you when you were in law school.
Yeah.
And then once you're there and it's not what you expect it to be, and maybe like it's a very uncomfortable space for you in terms of how you're treated as a young lady lawyer, but you think I have to keep pushing because this is what my definition of success was. But the thing is, it's ever evolving. If it's not serving you anymore, it's okay to change course, to find other. There's so many opportunities that you can grab, especially now. So that would be my message to my past self, that it's fine to, it's not a, what do you call it, like
A
a
one-sided.
linear like trajectory,
Mhm.
that you can try as many things as you like until you find something that's really
Mhm.
rewarding and that's really fulfilling for you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys. Super touching messages. I guess we. I guess at this
i
point.
hope
Sorry.
I hope it gets to someone who is still building a career,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Not even in the legal field, but
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah,
Anywhere.
yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for your time. I
Sure.
know
Thanks for
we
having
have a
us.
long way to go, but I also
Mm-hmm.
wanted to add final message na parang we also I think have to thank the people who took risks on us
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
for
Mm-hmm.
trusting in our abilities and our strengths and even
Hmm.
weaknesses for celebrating us. Thank you so much again and enjoy the rest of the Sunday.
You too. Thanks for
You
having us.
too.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having
Recording,
us.
but we can chika more, some more.
Yeah, and let's take a photo.
Oh
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah,